What would you do if you could destroy someone's dream job with just one sentence? Because I did exactly that, and I told myself it was an accident. David had been preparing for this interview for months. Senior developer position at a tech company in Seattle. It would mean relocating, yes, but the salary was almost double what he was making. The opportunity to work on projects he actually cared about instead of maintaining legacy systems for our local bank. He'd studied for weeks, practiced coding challenges, researched the company culture. This was his dream job, the kind of position he'd been working toward his entire career. The morning of the interview, he was so nervous he could barely eat breakfast. I made him eggs anyway, watched him push them around his plate while he rehearsed answers to questions he'd already practiced 100 times. He kept checking his phone, making sure the video call link was working, testing his camera angle. He'd set up in our spare bedroom, good lighting, professional backdrop. Everything perfect. The interview was scheduled for 2 p.m. At 1:45, he gave me a kiss, told me to keep the house quiet and close the bedroom door. I could hear him doing final mic checks, clearing his throat, pulling up the company website one more time. Then his personal phone rang. He'd left it on the kitchen counter, probably didn't want the distraction during the interview. I almost let it go to voicemail. Should have let it go to voicemail, but I recognized the number. It was Jake, his coworker from his current job. Jake, who had been applying for the same position at the same company. Jake, who David didn't know, was also interviewing today. I answered the phone. Jake's voice was excited, almost giddy. "David, man, I just got off my interview with them. I think it went really well. When's your interview again?" And in that moment, I had a choice. I could tell Jake that David was literally in his interview right now, that he'd called at the worst possible time, that he should call back later, or I could do what I did. "Oh, he had to cancel," I said. "Family emergency came up." The lie came out so smoothly I almost believed it myself. Jake was sympathetic, said he hoped everything was okay, mentioned he'd probably get a decision within a few days. After I hung up, I sat in the kitchen listening to David's muffled voice through the bedroom door. Professional tone, confident answers, the sound of someone who thought he was competing against strangers when really he was up against his own coworker who now thought he wasn't even in the running. The interview lasted an hour. David came out beaming, said it went better than he could have hoped. They seemed impressed, asked good questions, talked about next steps. He was sure he had a real shot. I smiled and congratulated him and made dinner while he called his mom to tell her how well it went. 3 days later, Jake got the job. David was devastated. He couldn't understand what went wrong, kept replaying every moment of the interview, wondering if he'd misread their enthusiasm. He applied for other positions, but nothing compared to that one. We never moved to Seattle. He's still at the bank, still maintaining systems that bore him, still wondering what he could have done differently. I tell myself I was protecting him from the politics of competing against a friend, but the truth is darker than that. I didn't want to move to Seattle. I didn't want to leave my job, my friends, my life here. And when Jake called, I saw a chance to keep the life I wanted by sabotaging the one David dreamed of. He still doesn't know Jake was his competition, still doesn't know about the phone call, and I've never found the courage to tell him. What would you have done? Tell me in the comments.